But before I tell you about that, people will say, well, big deal, so what? Why is history important at all? History is extremely important. Imagine if I could take from each one of you as an individual everything you knew about life up to last week and just erase it. Where would you be? You'd be lost. You'd be incompetent. You wouldn't know how to plan for the future. And you do the same thing with a people. If you erase their history or you don't tell enough about their past, they also become incompetent and they can't fulfill the future. And they can't fulfill the future. And they can't fulfill the future.
I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made. And they haven't even begun to pull the knife out, much less try and heal the wound. They won't even admit the knife is there.
What this study shows, which is really interesting, which is that when you look at the DNA of people today, the Asian component of it, which everybody in the Pacific has an Asian component in their DNA, the Asian component comes from these people 3,000 years ago. You know, it's not something which came in later or more recently. So, you know, the first people in Polynesia, they were Asian. The first people in Vanuatu were Asian. I think not long afterwards, maybe within a couple of 100 years, people started hearing about, you know, there's this wonderful new world out there and started joining them. Well, the most surprising thing was that the first people in Vanuatu, which hadn't been settled before, you know, they really are the first people. Places like New Guinea, Solomons, people have lived there for 50,000 years, like they had in Australia, but they hadn't gotten any further out. And so when we did the ancient DNA, we found that the first people in Vanuatu, who are, yeah, they're not like them disappeared, they are the ancestors of the people there today, came pretty directly, we think, from Taiwan or the northern Philippines.
Look, is it too crude to ask, does that mean that they're actually not Melanesian as people in Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea are then?
Well, no, what it means is that the first people who arrived there were pretty much unadmixed Asian populations. And then over the next probably several hundred years, people started joining them from places like New Guinea and the Solomons and produced the current population, you know, the way people look in Vanuatu today.
Lucid.
Look, this is fascinating information, but apart from pure scientific interest, what else could this information reveal about descendants today?
Well, I think once you've got the genes of the ancient people, which we have now, you can start looking perhaps at some of the medical problems that have turned up in the Pacific, propensity to diabetes and stuff like that, and see if it really goes back to these original inhabitants. Is it something that's been sort of lurking in people's genes for 3,000 years or more? So that's one kind of application. But I think the main one is that what we're able to show is that the only difference between a Polynesian and a Melanesian is the percentage of Asian genes. If you have, all Polynesians have at least 26% of these Papuan genes. So the Polynesians aren't these Asians who turned up 3,000 years ago. They're also a mixture of Asians and the Papuan populations that have lived in the region for years. So the difference between a Polynesian and Melanesian is just whether you've got, 26% Papuan genes or 50% or more, which would be called a Melanesian. If you've got your 26% or a bit more, you're called a Polynesian.
Vi Higginson, the prospect of tracing even a tiny fraction of her ancestry back to Africa was enthralling. 60 Minutes sent her DNA to African Ancestry, as well as to several other genetic genealogy companies, to see what they could tell us about Vi's maternal lineage.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat.
Kittle's company sent Vi what they call a certificate of ancestry.
Oh my God.
It says that you share maternal genetic ancestry with people from the Mendi tribe in Sierra Leone. Do you know anything about Sierra Leone or the Mendi people?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
People have been waiting a lifetime for something like this. Now, this is just a tiny bit of information now.
But they take it as huge.
Right, because it's cracking open the door that was closed for centuries.
There's a place in Africa you could say that I'm from.
A tribe?
A tribe? I am thrilled. It puts a name, a place, a location, a people. It opens up such possibilities.
But the problem is, Sierra Leone wasn't the only answer Vi got. A company called Relative Genetics found a match to a single person in the Wobi tribe in the Ivory Coast.
Different?
Different.
Now, I got all excited about that, and this is different. Now, how could that happen?
Then a third company, Trace Genetics. Your particular sequence matches sequences reported among multiple Mendanka individuals in Senegal.
What's up with this?
And Family Tree DNA, the company that linked Vi with Marion in the first place, came up with a whole list of matches. This goes on and on.
My goodness.
So what do we know about Vi's ancestry? Your particular sequence matches sequences reported among multiple Mendanka individuals in Senegal.
What's up with this?
And Family Tree DNA, the company that linked Vi with Marion in the first place, came up with a whole list of matches. This goes on and on.
My goodness.
So what do we know about Vi's ancestry?